Alright, the purpose of this video is to show how to capture and decode digital signals using a Rigol DHO900 series oscilloscope, as well as with a DSLogic Plus logic analyzer. And we're starting by looking at the Rigol scope. And we're looking at a UART signal on channel 1 and the actual decoded values of the UART data displayed in ASCII below it. Let's first just talk about the source of the signals here. I've got a UNI-T oscilloscope test board. That's the UT-M13X, and it generates signals of various types, and it's currently set up to output a UART signal, which we're then sending into the Rigol scope. And I'll just set this up so we can show how to set up the Rigol scope to capture and decode that data. Alright, so the icon on the lower left here, the gear icon, click on that and go to this decode option right here. And now here we are, we pick the bus type, which is UART or RS-232 in this case, turn the bus on. Select the channel to receive on, that's channel 1. We set our threshold voltage, in this case to 1 volt. The signal goes from 0 to 3 volts. And then the baud rate, which is actually hard-coded in the UNI-T test board at 115/200. Data bits 8, parity none, stop bit 1, Endian LSB, and I've got it set up to output in ASCII format. You could change that to hex or decimal, various choices here. And so there you go, that's how you set that up. And if I was to run this, you can see it's decoding the data in real time. The other thing you can do under this same decode option is to turn on this switch here, which is an event table, and we'll show that. And so now it's showing you capturing and displaying the data, which is kind of nice. If I stop this again, all right. The other thing to look at is the trigger options on the Rigol scope. So you actually set the type of trigger to match the protocol that you're capturing. So you've got RS-232, I2C, SPI, and so forth. So that's kind of nice. I have it set up for RS-232 or UART in this case. And that's how that works. So you've seen the setup, you've seen how it decodes in real time, and the options on the way you can display the data is hex or ASCII, etc. So now let's take a look at the DSLogic Plus. First, the device itself. That's this device right here. It's probably about 4 inches square, about a ½ inch thick. It's a small, nicely machined metal case. It's got 16 input channels in this case, and it's a relatively inexpensive device. The way I have it hooked up in this case is to these test ports that are on the side of this UNI-T board, and so there's one for ground and one for the UART right here. And that's just going right into this port 0 or the 16, 0 through 15 on the DSLogic Plus hardware. And now scrolling over here, take a look at the software. So this is the DSView software, which comes with the DSLogic hardware. And the way that this works is to capture data and decode it in the same fashion, but it doesn't do it in real time. So the first thing to do to set this up is to go to this gear icon in the upper left. Click on that, and that's to set up your device options. So this is the options for the hardware itself. And so we're streaming data. I've got a threshold set to 2 volts in this case. There's some switches here about turning on an external clock. Just to note, for UART, you need to turn off the external clock or you won't be able to capture data. And then the key thing is to turn on whichever channels you want to come in with data on. So I'm using port 0 as the input port to come in with the signal and the ground wire for the UART signal from that UNI-T board. And so that's set up. And then you come up to the right-hand side and pick the protocol, and the software has just a whole bevy of protocols that it supports. So you pick UART, and up would come a configuration window. I've already got it configured, but you pick your protocol, hit plus, and you would add it to your list of protocols that you're going to be dealing with in this particular session. And then there's a gear icon again here next to the UART. So you're setting up the UART configuration. Once again, you have things like the baud rate, the bits, the parity, etc., as well as, importantly, which channel you're coming in on. So since I only have the one channel turned on hardware options, it only gives me the one option here. So it's going to be on port 0. All right, so set that up. And then configure just how much time you want to capture, how much data you want to capture, or how long. So I've got it set for 500 milliseconds or half a second. And the capture rate, I've got it capturing at the maximum rate of 20 megahertz. And then you can set your mode, and the mode options are see single, repetitive, or loop. And then you hit start. Goes off and captures a half a second of data. It's finished. And then you can zoom in on the data. And once you get close enough, it'll actually show you the decoded data. And I'll scroll over to see if I can find where it's sending that UNI-T. Here it is. So if you can read that, make sure I'm zoomed in. UNI-T. And here on the right-hand side, I'm going to switch this to hex. You can see it displayed in hex. Switch it again back to ASCII. So those are the basic options and how you configure it, and how you can capture and decode the data using the DSLogic Plus and the DSView software. So that's about it, and I thank you for watching.